From WNDU, your breaking news and weather authority, this is NewsCenter16 at 11.
Called out. South Bend apartment complexes are told just how many 911 calls residents can make before being charged. Getting schooled. A research firm looks to see if technical glitches impacted state I-STEP scores. And hole in the wall. A dormant building collapses overnight. What the city of South Bend plans to do about it. The news at 11 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Lewis. Terry has the night off. New at 11, owners of nuisance properties in South Bend will soon have to start paying up. Earlier tonight, the Common Council passed a chronic problem property ordinance by a vote of 8-1. Council members say it will hold homeowners and landlords accountable for what happens on their properties. NewsCenter16's Barbara Harrington was at tonight's council meeting. So, Barbara, just how stiff of a penalty does this ordinance create?
Well, Kevin, properties that exceed a certain number of calls will be fined up to $250 for each call after that.
Barbara, there's going to be a lot of paperwork here. Who's going to be in charge of enforcing this new ordinance down the line here?
Well, Kevin, it's going to be a collaborative effort between multiple departments.
It should be interesting to see how this one plays out.
It will be interesting. A lot of conversations ahead on this one, I think.
All right, Barbara. Hey, thank you very much. Well, rain today, but gone tomorrow. Here's Cindy Clausen with a look at what we can expect overnight.
Yeah, gone tomorrow and back on Wednesday.
All right, Cindy, thank you very much. New tonight at 11, a rolled over semi snarled traffic in Berrien County this afternoon. The crash happened around 3 o'clock at the I-196 and I-94 interchange in Benton Charter Township. According to our reporting partners at WSJM Radio, eastbound traffic on I-196 had to reroute and take the I-94 southbound ramp until the scene was cleared. The northbound ramp was closed to traffic. Also new at 11, Mishawaka police are looking for the man they say robbed a credit union. It happened around 9:30 this morning in the 3000 block of Edison Lakes Parkway. The suspect reportedly entered the AAA credit union demanding money. That's when the teller placed a die pack and cash into a brown plastic bag. The suspect, who's described as mixed race, left the building and the die pack exploded on him. He then left and ran through bushes, hopping into a four-door vehicle. Anyone with information asked to call the Mishawaka Police Department at 574-258-1684. Also new at 11, the remains of a missing woman found early last month have been identified, and today her husband spoke for the very first time. Candy Brown disappeared last August. Her car was found abandoned just outside a Michigan City bar and grill. So far, no arrests have been made, but today Brown's husband, David Morris, addressed the public saying he still wants answers, and he says he's unsure of where to go.
Honestly, just try to hold it together. I'm trying so hard, and it's, you know, I lost two people that I loved. It's within 8 months, you know, so that kind of loss, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel.
Now, investigators are still trying to determine what exactly happened to her and how she ended up in the woods. Anyone with information should call the department's crime hotline at 219-873-1488. A South Bend building that collapsed during a small rainstorm last night will be demolished. Just after 1 a.m., the storm forced the roof of this building along Lincoln Way West to full-out collapse. There's no specific reason as to why the roof fell in, but neighbors say it had been in bad condition for years now. In fact, the building next door had a tarp over the roof and a sign warning people to stay away because it was not safe. An investigation underway to determine if the latest I-STEP test results are tainted. In late April, the online portion of the I-STEP was hampered by a host of technical troubles. Because of server errors, a total of 78,000 students were interrupted during the test-taking process. An independent third party has been hired to determine if the disruptions had any impact on student scores.
These interruptions were simply unacceptable, and they call into question the validity of the test scores.
I think that anyone who was in a classroom near a child that was getting so frustrated taking that test with the freezing could tell you how invalid the test was, just common sense.
The test results are used to assess school improvement and to evaluate the job performance of individual teachers. The National Center for the Improvement of Educational Assessment will take about 4 to 5 weeks to complete its investigation. The firm will receive no more than $53,600 for its work. New tonight at 11, the Elkhart City Council debated the hotly contested commercial compact fee earlier this evening. Now that fee changes the way customers outside city limits pay for Elkhart water and sewer services. Republican David Hankey brought forward a new proposal at tonight's meeting asking the city to adopt a 15% fee for commercial and residential customers.
Tomorrow night, the council president will be entertaining official motions to amend the ordinance as individual council members see fit, and I feel comfortable in saying that we will see the suggestions that were made by Councilman Hinkey tonight as amendments tomorrow evening, and hopefully we can pass that and send it on to the Greater Council.
Council members say a vote could come as early as July 1st. To Marshall County now, where officials were fine-tuning policy today to make sure they're in compliance with the Affordable Care Act. Like many businesses, the county discussed an ordinance that would limit part-time workers to just 56 hours every 2 weeks. Local insurance firm the Healy Group says many companies are taking similar steps. As of January 2014, all large businesses with 50-plus workers must offer insurance or face a penalty.
So they're going to have to manage that threshold because they have to understand who they have to offer insurance to.
Healthcare exchanges are scheduled to be set up in the U.S. starting in 2014, but how that transition to a healthcare marketplace has not yet been fully detailed. On the national front and new at 11, a bomb squad searched a Southwest Airlines plane after a bomb threat was phoned in about a flight from L.A. to Austin, Texas. The plane was diverted to Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport around 3 o'clock local time. 143 passengers and the plane's crew got off and boarded several buses. The plane then taken away from the terminal as it was investigated. Other flights arrived and landed as scheduled. New at 11, just 6 months after a gunman killed 20 first graders and 6 educators, schools in Newtown, Connecticut had yet another scare. The school system was placed on lockdown briefly after someone implied a threat during a phone call to a school near the site of last year's shooting. The threat was made to Hawley Elementary, just a short 2 miles from Sandy Hook. The lockdown ended when schools dismissed for the day, but caused busing delays all throughout that district. Court records allege years of turmoil between the parents of the young man who fatally shot 5 people in Santa Monica, California. Documents quote the mother of John Zawari, describing his father as, quote, verbally abusive and controlling. His mother requested a restraining order against her husband back in 1998. Zawari fatally shot his father, brother, and 3 other victims on Friday. George Zimmerman had his first look today at the people who might decide whether he committed second-degree murder. His trial in the fatal shooting of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin is underway with jury selection that began this morning. Potential jurors filled out questionnaires as prosecutors and defense lawyers look for 6 jurors and 4 alternates. Jury selection is expected to take all week. Zimmerman has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder, claiming self-defense.
More to come on News Center 16.
Apple unveils new products at this year's conference on the West Coast. So what does the global tech giant have up its sleeve? And a Clothier CEO steps down after a snafu with see-through yoga pants. More on her reasons for resignation.
I'm Jeff Jeffers. The Lakeshore softball team is making another run for the state championship. We'll hear more from Denny Dock about his team coming up.
Temperatures are nice and mild out there tonight, and it gets even warmer tomorrow with temps back into the 80s. I'll have your forecast up next. The main threat would be damaging winds with that if that does happen. So it's something we're really keeping our eyes on over the next couple of days here in the Storm Team 16 Weather Lab.
Get those weather radios ready.
Absolutely.
Just in case.
Definitely want to have those on Wednesday.
All right, Cindy. Hey, thank you very much. Well, coming up tonight, Tech Geeks Unite. Apple introduces new products at its annual conference. We're going to show you what next gadget could soon land in your hand. For a third day now, Nelson Mandela is in serious but stable condition at a South African hospital where he's being treated for a recurring lung infection. Family members today visited Mandela in the hospital as the government reported his condition is unchanged. The anti-apartheid leader, who became the country's first black president, is 94. A grand jury will investigate a building collapse in Philadelphia that killed 6 people. The downtown building was being demolished when it collapsed onto a neighboring Salvation Army thrift store last Wednesday, killing 2 employees and 4 customers. The collapse also left 13 people hurt. Now, police allege the heavy equipment operator, 43-year-old Sean Benchop, was high on marijuana when the collapse occurred. He surrendered yesterday and, of course, now faces a slew of charges. New tonight at 11, Internet Radio just picked up the proverbial 800-pound gorilla. Tech giant Apple announced today it's getting into the competition. Details tonight from Chris Clackham.
How about some Led Zeppelin?
Well, the hunt is on for a new CEO at yoga clothing company Lululemon. The company made headlines earlier this year for its see-through pants snafu. CEO Christine Day will step down as head of the company after a successor is named. Day has worked as CEO for more than 5 years now. Lululemon shares dropped about 9% in after-hours trading following the news. Well, some interesting weather affected the Cubs and Sox games tonight. Jeff has the highlights from Wrigley and the Cell. That's all coming up next in sports.
He'll compete with Ryan Mallett for the backup job to Tom Brady with New England.
And so
that will do it for sports.
The Tebow tale continues.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, for all of us.
It goes on and on and on.
Like a broken record.
Best punt protector in the league.
This is true. Yep. All right. Still out of the news at 11. An ice cream company looks to cities across the nation to develop new flavors. But just how will they do it? We'll give you the scoop next. Finally for us tonight, New York, known for its bagels, Seattle for its coffee. But how does that all translate into ice cream? Funny you asked. Ben & Jerry's has kicked off its City Churned campaign in 5 cities, including D.C., San Francisco, New York, Portland, and Seattle. Over the course of several weeks, Ben & Jerry's will film and tabulate the activities of each city by tweets, traffic, transportation, and its people to create its own city-inspired flavor. And to ensure the flavors are a tribute to the city themselves, Ben & Jerry's is partnering with local businesses to source the ingredients. The campaign will officially kick off in each market when the beloved Ben & Jerry's Scoop Truck rolls into each city as part of its East and West Coast Scoop Truck Sampling Tour. Maybe South Bend would have the South Bend Chocolate Company chocolate in its ice cream.
Yeah, we have lots of great...
They'd have to do a Midwest tour, though, for that to happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if that Scoop Truck stopped in South Bend.
No joke.
Well, let's take a look at our forecast because it could get a little dicey on Wednesday. Keep it tuned right here. We'll keep you updated on what's going on.
So far this year, though, really, we've been quite lucky without having much severe weather.
Very much so. Very much so. It's so far the real bad stuff has stayed out in the plains. So let's cross our fingers that we don't have that here.
Yeah. But you guys will be here if that arises.
We'll be on top of it.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight on the news at 11. I'm Kevin Lewis for Cindy Clausen, Jeff Jeffers, and everyone working so hard behind the scenes here at Channel 16. Have a great night. Frank and Tricia in tomorrow on the news at 4:30.